If you ever want to veer off and do a Frank Stallone podcast, let me know.
No, that won't happen. All right, so we got some fun bits today. We've got a couple new segments that we're going to be doing on It's a Long Road, the Ramble Series podcast. First, it's called This Week with Frank Stallone.
I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. So Sly was kind enough, and this is great, Dom. Did you know that Sly actually recorded the intro for this segment?
Did he? I didn't know that you got into. I know you were telling me you were trying to reach out yesterday. Luckily, he answered.
Thanks, Sly, for doing that. So here we go. This Week with Frank.
And now, let's check what my brother's doing on the segment I like to call This Week with Frank Stallone.
Hi, this is Frank Stallone. It's Friday. We are at Gold's, and we just had a fantastic workout, and we are looking forward to do some good stuff. Just talked to Atlantic City, the Hard Rock. We're getting that going. And next week, you will see on the Family Stallone, me in concert at Atlantic City, the Hard Rock, and we had a great time. It was fantastic, and my health is coming back. You know, my breathing is getting a lot better. Taking some herbs, doing some acupuncture, doing a lot of things.
I know it's a little hard to hear. He's in a restaurant. He said he's at Gold's. Is that Gold's Gym?
Yeah, it's Gold's Gym.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think it looks like he's sitting at a restaurant booth. Is there a restaurant at Gold's Gym?
Maybe there's something. Maybe it's like a protein shake place or something. Because I even see the picture in the background. The guy's wearing the Gold's Gym tank top.
Yeah. So he says he's at Gold's, and I know he likes to pretend that he works out like his brother. And now he mentioned as well that his health. I don't know. Something happened to his health. Do you know?
Yeah, no, I didn't know anything about that. Did he have? Maybe he had COVID or something. I don't know.
Well, he was in the hospital, hooked up to IVs or something. I saw on his Instagram. No. But unfortunately, this segment is This Week with Frank. I can't go back too far in time.
This is not Last Week with Frank.
No.
You know, he could have been dying last week. We're not going into that.
So he also mentioned the Family Stallone show. Of course, he's plugging that because this is the first time he's been on network television in 4 decades. So he's very excited to be on that. Have you caught up on that show?
I did catch up. Yeah, I watched the 3 episodes that are in existence right now. So,
what are your thoughts on it overall?
I mean, when it comes to reality shows, like that's like my kryptonite. They're very hard for me to watch, but obviously being such a Stallone fan, that's why I'm watching it. I think it's okay. I mean, I'm there for all the Stallone content, like the actual Sly content. I kind of tune out every time it's just like his daughters and his wife. I'm just like, I go on like autopilot. But it's been interesting. I like the Frank Stallone episode when they went to his apartment.
Yeah, what did you think of the fishing expedition with Jennifer? Do you think that was a real catch? That big fish? Or was it a prank?
That's the thing with reality shows. I don't know. Even I know you mentioned it last episode a little bit. You were saying they said they don't have a big relationship or a good relationship with Frank. I wasn't buying that. I think that was just for the show. I think they just went there. Yeah, I felt like they would just kind of maybe to get a tour of his memorabilia and stuff. Maybe they were doing it like, oh, they hadn't been there. But who knows? I guess who knows? Maybe it's
What
possible.
do you think of Frank having all that stuff of his brother and a lifelike statue of his brother in his office? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'm kind of like used to it because I remember like years ago when I was, I think it was in my teens or something, but it'd be like a Rocky marathon on a channel. And he would be, for the commercials, it would be him and somebody else. And he'd be showing off the memorabilia. I thought it was funny they had the Rambo abs, though, because we talked about that. It's weird, but I guess if I was Sylvester Stallone's brother, I'd probably have everything too. I'd be like,
I guess that's what Katie of the Rocky Series podcast that I do with Katie, she kind of said that, like she was telling me, oh, Ryan, you don't have any famous celebrity siblings, thus you. Right.
She rubbed it in your face.
She did rub it in my face a little bit. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Katie. I don't have any famous family members. I don't know if I still would have a lifelike statue of my brother in my room.
You wouldn't have your brother's abs in your room where you sleep?
No. All right, so he's plugging the show. He's talking that he's at Gold's Gym. He's wearing a Pittsburgh Pirates hat. Okay, let's continue with Frank because he's not done yet.
Never done. Frank is never done. One thing about him.
To make myself better. It's been a rough year, but you know what? When the going gets tough, the tough get going, baby. And
So he says when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Talk about his rough year of health and what have you. And he also says he's doing acupuncture and herbs to get better.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then he does the Sly punching thing.
He does.
You know what I mean?
He's an extension of Sly at this point, you know? Did you watch that documentary, by the way, that Frank Stallone documentary?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How was it?
It was good. You got to watch it. And if you haven't, check out my interview with Derek Wayne Johnson, who put that film together.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I got to check that out.
And I'll have to tell you offline some stuff. I can't tell you publicly, listeners, things I heard about Frank.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I wish I could say stuff. All right, we'll continue.
So I want to wish you all a safe weekend. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Going to hit some good restaurants and take care of business. And it's amazing, all this prednisone I've been taking. I lost weight.
I know it's really hard to hear with the chatter. I don't know why he's recording in the Gold's Gym restaurant, but
he went to the noisiest place ever to record.
So he's saying that he's taking some sort of supplement or some sort of chemical for his health. He's talking about some weight loss coming up. He also said there that he's looking forward to this weekend, which I guess is now at the time of this recording, because he's going to hit some restaurants. He's going to hit some restaurants. So he's talking about some sort of chemical that he's taking. And then he talks about weight loss and his weight loss and gain. The key part of this video is he gives some great advice to the ladies about their weight. So
can't wait.
That gets fat, your head does this big. I went from 204, 205 to 185. But I found out it's too thin for me. So I'm like about 191. Girls, trust me on this. Don't get too thin. You lose your shape, everything disappears.
He says girls okay, sorry. He says girls, don't get too thin. You lose your shape and everything. What do you think he means by everything? What's your guesses there? Any guesses?
He was going into I think a perverted side and everything.
I think he's talking about breasts, the fatty tissue that you find in breasts. So
he's very vocal on Instagram and stuff like that. I was telling you, he just he fights with people. I see people comment sometimes. Me and my brother send it to each other, pictures. Somebody be like, "Oh, you're living off your brother," and he'll go off on somebody and be like, "Fuck you."
I mean, that's a horrible accusation. Of course he's not. Of course he's not.
No way.
So, talking about his weight, then he gives the unsolicited advice to the ladies not to get too thin. Hear that again.
If you lose your shape, everything disappears. We all try to recapture our youth and get young. Oh, I weighed that at 16. Forget about it. Have a good week. God bless you. Stay safe.
Now, he did the Italian forget about it. What's that? Is that Italian?
That kind of means fuck you, honestly.
So he's telling the girls, stop worrying about what you look like at 16. Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
All right. Hey, Tim. We'd like to welcome Tim in our chat. Donald's there. It's somebody who's watching us on Twitch, but they're always a silent watcher. But whoever's watching us on Twitch, we appreciate it. Okay, so that was our This Week with Frank Stallone. Tune in our next episode.
I'm excited to see what the next chapter is for Frank, honestly. Always am.
That concludes another episode of Frank Stallone. Who is this guy?